Charity Gaming Guild presents the Nat Pun Podcast. The Charity Gaming Guild presents the Nat Pun Podcast.
Everybody to Fireside Chat, and I'm joined as always by the lovely Bertie. Say hello, Bertie.
Hello, Bertie.
The wonderful Ash. Say hello, Ash.
Hello, Ash.
And the hilarious Andy. Say hello, Andy.
Hello.
So today I thought we would have a chat about D&D and the stories that come with that. So we asked a little while ago from our community for some of the stories that they want to share around, best moments, most chaotic encounter, that sort of thing. And I'll read some of those out in just a moment. But I want to start by asking you guys, how do you feel about D&D and the ability to tell stories through role-playing games as a medium? Going straight for the deep question.
So deep.
It's very good. I think it's especially useful because I know it's used a lot in therapy for stuff. So it's good for people who are trying to work through stuff and stories, but that way. But I think on a not so deep level, it's just fun to tell stories, especially if you're a DM who has one stuck in your head. I think it's nice to be able to get that out on a piece of paper and have it. I think probably go places that you never expected it to when you players get involved because of the weird stuff that they throw in. And I think sometimes it can be cathartic because there might be a chance for you to work through something that maybe you haven't had the opportunity to as well in a safe environment.
I think the way that the stories unfold, if it's a DM, to a lesser extent as a player, it kind of promotes creativity because you may have an idea of what the story is supposed to look like, but the events within the story change that, and you have to very much think on your feet and make the changes and the adaptations to the story, perhaps in a way that still brings it to the conclusion you want. So I think that's actually healthy because it's keeping your mind sharp and keeping it from, getting those creative juices flowing. And it certainly helps me to think of all the valid excuses when my wife says, "How much have you spent on that toy?"
Spin a good yarn before.
Absolutely, yes.
What about you, Ash? As somebody DMs primarily?
I am much the same as Andy, so I will write a story which I have in my head, and wherever the idea comes from is normally multiple places all mashed together. And I know where I want it to end up, but the middle will always be vague for me. And D&D is a collaborative storytelling game. So it's not just me as a DM that tells the story, it's the players. And what the players do, they write those points and high and low moments throughout that story, and that's what gives you a narrative to complete your story.
I think it's really interesting and really powerful, isn't it, around that group storytelling, and allowing everyone time to express their characters and what they want to get out of it as well. So I'll read out one of the we asked a couple of questions to the community. So one of them was around the most epic moment in a CGG game. So this one, I haven't got who sent them in. People will know, and I think people recognise from some of the stories who they're from anyway. So this first one reads, one of the most epic moments was in November game about 3 years ago, Dark Ascension, I believe. Chris and Jack ran a superb encounter with the High Vessel. Chris was stood behind Jack on a chair, I had, as Jack was so tall. And weeded his way, almost like a snake talking, as it was that every god whispering in a vessel's ear. It was amazing. The whole encounter, when we stopped the fight, was just excellent. Tension, stakes, and using our found abilities to try and convince the NPCs to stop the war. There was very nearly a player versus player action, but we managed to let it slide. would always be up there on the best CCG moments for me, and one of the only times Jack DM'd for me before his passing, which was an honour on my part. So what would you guys think about moments like that when you see them?
I was on the table for that, and it gave me goosebumps when they were doing the high vessel behind me through with the voices behind, because they fully committed to it. It wasn't like a half, oh, I feel a little bit embarrassed because no, they fully went for it. And I don't know how much pre-planning they had done, like whether they'd kind of had written out what they thought they were going to say or discussed how they were going to deal with it, but it worked so smoothly and it was so impactful. The whole table just kind of went, oh, this is amazing. And it drew you in so much. I mean, the whole game up to that point had been pretty awesome. But I think that was the real turning point when you went, this is so epic. It was quite amazing.
I remember seeing that and being drawn over to the table to watch them do it, and talking to Chris and Jack about it and kind of why they did it was really interesting as well. Because Thrall was this like focal point for all of the gods. Their thinking behind it was, well, he's going to be absolutely insane. He's got all these gods talking to him all the time, and that's what they wanted to portray and act out. And it will be right. It was incredible to see. And you're right as well. They fully committed to it. That is what made it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Cool.
You looked at me as if I was going to say something, but I was DMing on different tables, so I didn't see any of that.
No,
But it sounds.
it does sound amazing. I think I was at the game as a player. I remember looking across and seeing Chris on the chair, but they were the other side of the room, so you didn't see what's going on with that. So, what epic moments have you guys had? Just one. If you could pick just a epic moment that you've had in any of the CCG games that you want to tell us about.
I think I've mentioned mine before. It was when we were playing that game and it was pulling in a campaign that we were into that game day, and then Chris kind of came across to me and he was like, I just want you to say something as mouse. And I was like, I don't have a clue what's going on, but sure, let's do it. And he described us kind of bursting out and then going along with chasing this dragon. And it was, for me, it was epic because I was like, I know what's happened in that game, but I'm in this game and it's bringing the games together, and oh my god, it's all in the same world. It's real, we're in the Matrix. It's that kind of situation of literally worlds colliding. It pulled everything together. I was like, oh no, that was for me the biggest moment of these aren't separate stories. Everything is happening in the same world, and I can literally, in my head, I could see us. Because he was kind of pointing across, and I was like, I can see what you're describing. And I was like, this is so exciting. It's like, if you can, vague memories for me of when you were a kid and you'd be playing with toys, and you weren't just playing with toys, you were literally seeing those things happening with those dolls or whatever you were doing. And it was a throwback for me. I was like, this is the only time as an adult where I've got that feeling again. I'm a child literally seeing my toys come alive and play. It was amazing. I loved it. I will always remember that one.
Amazing. What about you guys?
I've probably got quite a few actually. I mean, I think purely from an aesthetic point of view, I think the big fight last year with all those dragons on a table, actually, seeing that number of big models on a table, and the way that the players were sort of in awe to a degree and really enjoying it, that was a reachable moment. But linking to what Bertie said, there's a couple of experiences that I've had. So there was one of the, and I can't remember which campaign it was, but it was, or which event it was, but it was one where there were like the evil demonic versions of some of our beloved characters. So there was Mouse, so there was Mouse and there was Thorin. And a similar sort of feeling, how my character is part of the world now, but that's not my character, that's me. And again, that was just magnificent. And even like an NPC, so Mara is she's in the lore now. Yeah, she started as just this NPC that we found in a campaign, and we started looking after her.
Yeah, cabbage box.
Yeah.
The market.
She's now become, and we spent so much of our character time sort of looking after her and becoming almost like her adopted parents until she was rudely snatched away. But yeah, so I think this whole world has something magical about it. Not that I'm trying to be a sharp.
Nah.
It could be better.
It could be better.
Yeah,
Thanks,
to
mate.
talk on this because I remember this in the sense of the person, but I think it's really interesting. It's been involved for a few years now, and that kind of obviously right at the beginning it was like, oh, it's a shared world, and it was talked about. But now, 5 years down the line, we're really starting to see that. They've got, as you mentioned, was it before Tarwin was a player character. The Heroes Guild leaders now are all player characters. You've got Mouse and Thorin who crop up as doubles or real ones, not quite sure. Their names on tombstones all over the world for various reasons. No idea why, but they're there, aren't they? And I think it's interesting that it's quite amazing, I think, that it's actually starting to come around and starting to, the more this layers up, the more of this stuff we're seeing.
Yeah, 'cause I can't remember whether it's the next event or whether it was the last event where we found those. It's like a guy with certain names.
Yes, like,
Acolyte.
yes.
So there were the two again. So a guy with Mouse
Yeah.
and foreign and other characters' names on them, and they were empty, which is good. So heroes still alive,
Oh yeah.
but it does suggest that they are being hunted.
I can give you kind of a behind the screen peek into that kind of thing where the names appear. If you see like the names Adamar or Mouse or Foreign or Fasira appearing, then that means Zaphon's at play because he was part of that party.
Yeah.
So that's always a link back to Zaphon. Even just their names is a link back to him. So generally, if you see something that involves those names, Zaphon is or was involved in that at some point. Because that's him playing out his. They were my friends. Are they my friends? Are they not my friends? I don't know. The whole kind of thing, which still doesn't know.
When it comes to my Thorin's kind of guy would have to have been slightly larger than everyone else to accommodate
It's
my
just deeper.
half legs, half horse, half goat legs.
It's just, if you look in, it's just a lot deeper.
I suppose, yeah, if you would mean that way.
I selfishly, super selfishly, would love for there to be some event in the future where we get to face off with like level 30 for our characters and just something with him that would be amazing. Very, very selfish, but
What do you mean, like using mouse at a really high level?
yeah. Like with everything that's been going on, she's just been practicing and they've just been working together to try and get to a point because she would feel responsible. So she's like, right, I have to get to a point where I could potentially stop him, take him down, and have the team come together and just.
At that sort of level, though, Thorin would need at least a level 18 squirrel.
Yeah, that's sure.
What about you, Ange? Epic moments.
It's really hard to pick an epic moment. There's lots of epic moments. I think I'm just basically going to echo what Bertie and Andy have said, I think. It's when you see the look on players' faces when they realise how intertwined all that narrative is. And like they see their characters, or even they see the effect they've had on the world. So when something happens in a 12-hour game because of what's happened in a campaign or a one-shot or something like that, those are the moments that I really love when you see players come together. When Andy sits there and talks about Mara, I love that. Because that was literally, I've got a little book called Table Fables, and John's probably seen me use it 1,000 times. You roll a random city encounter, and one of them is you find a baby in a box of cabbages at the market, and that is what gave birth to Mara.
Wow.
All of that. She's done all sorts. Uncle Brent's looked after her. Gloradel Lugalore has taken her back to Felsari. She's gone to Oceanhold. She now rules over Oceanhold. And when you see someone who's invested in that character, even if it's not Andy's character, but if you even mention the fact that Mara might get hurt, it's really very upset. Very upset. And it's those kinds of moments that I love when you see players become invested in the world. That's what matters. And then, like I mentioned in the previous episodes, when Carrie became Tarquin, to see their face just light up, just like it's amazing. Other examples, Zeke's character, Emily Thunderbrace, he's now one of the Marshals of the Solar Order of the Divine Inquisitors. That was amazing. So he's now in the world, and then other things happen on Tuesday Night campaign, which are going to come out of the World Anvil as well, and then the players will see how that links in, even to the point where, well, those players, you guys know, don't you, what's happening? So to the point where the DMs are being told, if you have this person on your table, be aware of this link to the game. So the DMs can build those links in and make them even stronger and even deeper. That's why that's my epic moment, if you like.
The epic links.
The epic links. And sometimes it's a bloody nightmare. I have to remember who's done what and who's going where and all that kind of stuff. But that's pretty good.
I've already sprays are available.
That was good. Yeah, he knows it's only African. Anyway. Got another story that someone submitted to us. I believe this is from Chris's game, just because it's Callan Swampy's first and last parent-teacher conference.
Definitely from Tides of Mystery.
Yep. In a recent Tides of Mystery session, masterfully run by the dangerously and brilliant Chris Lay, our party split up. Cal, a 7-foot human barbarian who exudes nothing if not chronic divorced dad energy, found himself paired with Swampy, a creature best described as a goblin-shaped fever dream who probably owns the universe and is an adventuring party and apology. They were out running errands when a local school teacher spotted them. She cast a measured glance at the squat goblin, then cracked her neck up to the towering cow and asked, "Shouldn't your son be in school?" A silence fell, not the polite kind, but the kind of silence usually reserved for a father at a funeral. Cal, who was very much not green, stared down at the goblin beside him, Swampy, all teeth and zero shame, tilted his head back slowly as if considering whether to be offended or just to snack on the teacher in disbelief. Then, without so much of a pause for breath, fuck the... fuck the pedocracy. Cal, evidently done with this whole conversation malarkey, lit a cigarello, and handed it to his son. Agrees. I'm a Marlboro man. If he was a deadbeat dad. The teacher's expression, a masterpiece of horror that applied disbelief. The two of them proceeded to flip off, and now the thoroughly horrified teacher, and sauntered off into the sunset. A new bond was forged. 10 out of 10 roleplay would happily disappoint authority figures again.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's quite something, isn't it?
See, I love stories like that though, when you hear it from people. I think it's great though. It's those little bits stick in people's minds, I think, for a long, long time. Those silly little moments, don't they? Have you guys had any moments like that where it's been those little ones that just stick in your mind?
Yeah. I remember Company of Fate, which is the same campaign that you found Mara in. Reuben was a Minotaur artificer who did some really weird, wacky move in combat involving inserting his horn into a creature in a certain location. He narrated it. Obviously, it requires some skill checks, and he rolled a natural 20 to pull it off.
Wow.
So it happened. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Yeah, because his character and mine would have a bit of banter about who had the best horns.
No, yeah, horn off.
Mm. I was tiefling, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Andy Bergen? Any that you'd like to share?
I'm trying to think of an example.
What about you, Jamal? I think.
I think for me, random moments like that, there's been quite a few. Why can't my mind's gone completely blank? What was the goblin called in Crack? No, not Crack.
No.
One out in the Feywild. So we're in the Feywild in our first campaign, and we were, I can't remember why, but we were looking for one was Hazel's character. We were looking for a cat, a familiar. So we're heading through, and there's two goblins arguing over a little silver hammer.
Mm-hmm.
So to stop them running away, we decided to shoot one leg. It's a goblin, and we were slightly high level. Killed this goblin, captured the other one, which then basically became like a party pet. We ended up sticking him in. We found an amulet, like a pocket dimension amulet you can keep a creature in. So he was kept in there most of the time, and it was funny. It was funny and horrendous all at the same time. It was a mushroom, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I found a mushroom ring, and if you go in and pick up the thing from the middle of the mushroom from the middle of the ring, you turn into a little ornament,
Right.
and then you can basically be summoned in and out of this ornament. So that's how we kept this goblin with us, which I can't remember his name now for some reason. But as the campaign went on, we ended up crashing an airship, and he ended up absorbing all of the ether power from the airship and basically going on a full-on rampage.
Yeah.
This little goblin ended up super powerful, took the whole party to stop him in the end.
I mean, that's a great story for like,
Yeah.
how does someone become evil?
Yeah, well, it was our fault as a party. Absolutely our fault as a party. Yeah, there's quite a few.
Not be able to remember his name is going to annoy me. Someone will remember on Tuesday.
Yeah.
I think I've got two examples, but I think I've already covered them off in earlier episodes. So one was where I was running a game, just one of these adventure days, and so it was a game that I'd written. We were on this beach or something, and I had all these lovely painted models, and it was going to be a really quite challenging fight. And then one of the players just made everyone into a Allosaurus, and so I had a whole table of Allosaurus just munching through my models like Rice Krispies, and then it was nowhere near as epic from my point of view, but very funny to think about it. And I think the other one that sticks in my mind was the episode where we were trying to infiltrate that gnomish airship, and it was a very high security area, and I was getting with Grim, and he was a blood hunter who turned into a werewolf, and we decided that the only way in was to use subterfuge. So I stripped off naked, turned into a werewolf, and they tied a rope around my neck to like a lead, and one of the other players pretended to be blind, so I was kind of acting as this guy. So yeah, but that's the beauty of the game, isn't it? I mean, you're only ever restricted by your imagination.
100%.
I think for me, it's the amount of times that my character has failed to seduce one of Chris's, where he's been DMing. He always seems to have, doesn't matter what character I create, they just always seem to fail at any seduction. I think one time I managed to do it was, I think I was playing Whisper, Tree, so she was a dwarf, and we were going through, I think it was a desert, when we came across that. It was something to do with a tent, and I think I'd managed to seduce a guard, and we managed to escape because I'd seduced him. It was the one where I ended up with 28 ex-husbands, and he gave me this horn. So I'd been playing as this character for a while, and he gave me this horn, which was he changed it a bit where normally you could blow it and then the horde would come, but I blew it all my ex-husbands. I think that was my vote. I was just like, she was like this short little really buxom lady who was just randy as hell, and like all of her exes were these big like orcs and Goliaths and stuff, so she just had her own personal army that she was able to call up, but she was constantly being like, your husband number 28. Just using it to get out. But I think that was the one time I actually successfully managed to seduce someone, was us escaping. The rest of it, his characters they're just not even interested at all. I'm like, damn it, Chris, come on.
I love it. I think it's so hard because there's different sorts of moments. Isn't there? There's moments like that are funny. There's moments that one of these like almost like surreal moments. I think was in the Dark Ascension game. We just my character just learned to polymorph. We were kind of in a downtime. It was after Zeke had eaten the sun god, and we were back in Ravenborn, and described us like we had Boom with us, I think. No, Stephanie with us. And sort of we mass polymorph into dragons to have a fly around the city on the top, and the narration they did was just beautiful.
Oh.
And it was one of those kind of everybody just kind of stopped just to listen to this narration for 4 minutes, 5 minutes, however long he narrated it for. And it was just one of those sort of cinematic moments, which always sticks as well.
That's awesome.
Right. So, as I suppose a question, do you think that playing D&D and telling stories in a collaborative way has helped you tell stories and express yourself outside of the game?
Yes.
Would you care to elaborate?
Of course I will.
No.
Explain.
Part of my job is delivering training to people, so going teaching people various courses and things like that. And I think that D&D has helped that, and that has helped D&D being able to think on your feet. And when someone asks you a weird question, or you're trying to get information over in a certain way, being able to reword things and think about how to word it differently and present information differently, I think is a really useful skill both ways around.
Have you got any thoughts?
I did try when my boss asked me to do a job to get him to roll a persuasion check. But it didn't work. So, I don't want to sound negative, but I can't think of an example where I have benefited in the real world from playing D&D, per se. Other than the fact that I've expanded my circle of friends, which is always a good thing.
Nice.
Shopping gay.
Yes, I am.
For me, I kind of already had I'm a thespian, darling. So all of my background is in performing. So I've got my degree and stuff in performance. So for me, it was like, oh, actually, D&D helps me because I can use all of the stuff I have in an environment to actually make the thousands of pounds worth of debt worth it. So yeah. So I'm like, great. D&D means I can use the skills that I've got and have an environment to enjoy it and do it with other people. Whereas not necessarily has it gone the other way around for me. But yeah.
So for me, I think it's given me a little bit of confidence. I think that first campaign we run, doing a silly voice or something like that, just wasn't a thing. Whereas now, I'm much happier doing that.
Yeah.
Much happier talking to people outside of people because of it. Realising that as long as people are having fun, you can pretty much get away with anything. I think, and that helpful. And then I suppose reading things like story structure, articles, and stuff like that is just useful sometimes. Putting stuff together, but yeah.
I think you can definitely see it in our members as well. Like seeing people who have been coming for a while, how they were when they started to come in comparison to how they are now. You can definitely see it in them. The confidence is grown and they're much more comfortable to try out new things and do voices and stuff just to get a little bit out of their comfort zones because they realise it's a safe space where they can do it, and that's always nice to see.
Even just to get into personal, like social skills, you see people start to come out of their shell more, become more comfortable and confident in themselves as well. I've seen that a lot with a lot of people, and people have come to me and said, "Oh, I've been able to do this because I did this with you guys, and I feel more comfortable when doing that."
Yeah.
So there are other benefits to it that you don't always see.
It's awesome. What do you guys think makes a truly epic story, though? Do you think there's any key components that need to be in there to make an epic story?
Hunted model.
I think it's having a group goal that you're working towards, whether you achieve it or whether you don't. The epic thing is that journey of trying to get to that together. I think when you have one where everyone's kind of out to do their own thing, or they've got their own agendas, or it's not meshing as much, it doesn't kind of feel as impactful as when you all go, yes, we beat those dragons, or no, we didn't, but we went out fighting as a team, and that that always seems to make it more epic, I think.
I think I would agree with that. In the first campaign that you ran, we'd come to the end of the campaign, we collected up all these essences and we were taking them to an angel where we were going to forge them into a god-slaying kind of weapon. And we knew we couldn't be fully trusted. And we were kind of having this conversation before setting off and knowing we're all going to go there anyway and take these things to him, having that genuinely serious conversation of like, do we just scatter and run away? Do we just take one each and disappear? And it's like, no, the epic thing to do is we're going to go and finish this properly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is only my view. I don't think there is a single component that will make an awesome game. I think you rely on so many. I mean, as an example, I could present the most gorgeous sort of visuals by way of animated maps and models, but if my presentation style is shit, or if the player sort of engagement is poor, it's still going to be a poor experience. So I think you've got to rely on a group of players who are open-minded and want to be involved, and okay, they can have sort of drawbacks, or if you like, that's probably the wrong word, but they might feel awkward about using voice, but they're still there. They've chosen to be there and they've chosen to take part. And if you can encourage that as a DM and get them more engaged, and if the players all sort of gel nicely and there's no sort of animosity or arguing about bloody rules, and if you've got the nice visuals that are appropriate for that game, if you've got a DM who's able to present in a style that is enjoyable, but also quick enough to sort of flex and make changes as and when needed, I think you need all of those components to truly make it an epic experience.
You got any thoughts, Ash?
I think I'm just kind of going to echo almost all three of you said. I think for me, the most important thing is like-mindedness amongst everybody around that table. Everybody knows they're there to tell an epic story, so they do the epic thing. Everybody knows that they're there to work together, so they work together. Everyone puts the effort in with engaging with the game, and that like-mindedness and single goal. I think
everybody knows that Mara is off limits.
Everyone knows Mara is off limits. Yeah, she's getting married next year, Andy. Actually,
yeah, you can bring Walker down the aisle.
Yeah, forget Rise of the Ancients. The wedding of Mara Wavewalker.
Yeah,
that's 2026. Yeah, that like-mindedness, I think, for me is the biggest thing.
Yeah. Have any of your characters, do you think, taught you anything about yourselves? Or have you explored anything about yourselves in your characters?
The deep questions from you today, John.
Damn right.
Yeah, I think learning from Thori, having a shooting and throwing at people does not cause them to be poison damage.
Did you not know that?
Good to know, really.
How many times did you have to test that theory before you figured it out?
I don't know. Go and ask Nettie. That's my wife, for those you aren't aware.
Can we have the question again, please?
So I was just asking if there's anything in any of your characters that you've taught you anything about yourself, or anything from yourself, I suppose, you've tried to explore through any of your characters. Deep question.
I find it very difficult playing a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
I think twice I played a player character who was a bit of a meanie.
And you just feel bad about doing that?
Yeah, I do, because I'm talking mean to people. I'm like, I feel bad. I don't want to do that. Did that. Probably the social interactions side. That's very similar for a lot of my characters, because it's very similar to me.
Mm-hmm.
In that it doesn't always go how I think it might go. So it's fun to play that in a safe space of going, I'm going to be like this and see how they react. Oh, it's a bad one. Okay.
Yeah, I must be honest, I find myself leading into my characters more than I intend a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have this idea of, oh, it's going to be this sort of personality, and then when they actually come to play, a lot more really ends up feeling really good.
I think that might always turn into idiots at some point.
I'm pretty sure everybody's does it.
Yeah.
Are you, Ash?
Just trying to think. I don't think that I've ever done that. I think I see, because I don't play very often. So when I do play, it becomes an opportunity for me to let my hair down a little bit. And that's what I tend to do with my characters, as Stuart well knows.
Is that why he keeps killing you?
Probably, yeah. That's probably like character number 47 in his campaign. A ridiculous number is. So yeah, I think it's that kind of side of things. But also for me, I tend to use playing as an opportunity to explore rules that I don't know very well. So I kind of almost use it for different purposes.
You're such a geek.
What about villains in the stories you come across them? Obviously, you've all played in different campaigns, DM and stuff. What is your most memorable villain? And you're not allowed to say Zephyr.
Oh, come on. Come on.
I don't consider him a villain, so I wouldn't say that.
He's misunderstood, remember?
Oh, yeah, he's sorry.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Mendouche.
Yeah.
Which is actually, his actual name is Mendax. He's the angel that John referred to earlier. It was the first time I'd ever double formed a BDNG, so you kill them and they come back as something else.
Okay.
So that was fun. And then to be able to have that character present throughout the entire campaign, and you were able to summon him as well by lighting black candles.
Yeah.
Which I think was probably a
Not
giveaway.
edgy at all.
Not edgy at all. You summon this angel.
It started off with white candles, didn't it?
Yeah,
And then
it
it
went
was black
down.
one like halfway through. Yeah. And it went,
Yeah, it went downhill from there. Yeah, he was probably my favourite. It's a lot of fun. You all knew he was evil straight away. I'm pretty certain.
Yeah. Clearly.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, you introduced the way he was introduced and the way he's kind of like, it's a big angel, taking interest, we're doing stuff for him. As we're talking to him, it's getting more and more edgy the whole time through the campaign. Like, from after about a quarter of the campaign, there was no trust with him. Like, we knew he was going to shaft us at the end. It's like, but that's the story.
Yeah.
Like, that's the story, isn't it? It's going with it. So.
Everything he was asking to do was getting gradually more and more evil.
Yeah. I think my favourite one recently was Jeston. Not technically a villain or a bad guy, but my God, was he a pain in the ass. Would you like to give us a little bit of Jeston's voice for us to see?
Hello, my name is Justin Strongman.
So that's Jeston. He's a gnome. He's bent over the top hat and bloody guns, isn't he?
Yeah.
Massive, powerful guns. And he was like the linchpin of this, like pretty much everything for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And dealing with him constantly, he was just always like, it had to be a bargain. He had to get something out of it. Just really hard work. Always just resistance from him. But he wasn't actually evil or bad, but he was clearly in the way the whole time. So I thought that was a great kind of, great friction in the story. You guys any villains that jump out at you? How about the Mara?
Outside. Well, from games I've run, I've never actually run a campaign, so I haven't got any my own villains per se. I mean, I guess one that I created which was I enjoyed using, was the Sapphire Dragon at the end of the Ancient Vault. And I enjoy it because, he wasn't out and out evil. He gave the party an out. He gave them, bear in mind they were level 5, and he's a ancient Sapphire Dragon, so it was very obvious that they had no chance of winning again in the fight against him. And he gave them the out. He said, leave your magic items behind. You can fill up with any of the jewels you find knocking around my little home here. Leave and then just seal it up so I don't get any more interruptions. But some of the party chose not to do that.
It was so much fun.
So they chose to actually take him on, and it didn't end well.
I thought we performed admirably.
Yes. No.
Was it just me and Chris?
It was just you two.
Yeah.
The others decided, we'll take that off, but thanks very much, bye. And you and Chris decided, no, this we're going to take you on.
So why was that decision made then?
I think it's because I TPK'd the previous one. They wanted some revenge.
Maybe I can't remember. It's a one shot, isn't it? So
Yeah.
you don't really care about your character that much in a one shot. And it was an opportunity to fight a massive dragon where we're clearly much too low of a level. And in my mind, we did very well. We nearly killed it before it killed us. That may not be the case, but that's what I tell myself. And he starts shaking his head.
About you, but is there any villains that you've come across in any of the games you've played in that particularly stick out for you?
No. See, this is tricky. I can't think of one where there was a villain that you've got the bad guy's this ogre or the bad guy's this dragon kind of thing. But the villains that I really love are, and I love that twist. Like, it was actually the NPC that was with you the whole time. It was that guy who was going along, helping you out. And I love those kind of twists of someone they're helping the party so that when it flips, it really stabs you in the heart. And that one was the closest to that. I still don't think that he was a villain. I think he was coerced, and that's why things happened the way they did with him. But having someone who is genuinely that evil, that they know what they're doing the whole way through, and it's not just a faceless someone you meet at the end of the game kind of thing. I want someone who's been there the whole way, that you created a relationship with, that saved your life, or you've risked yourself to save them, and then that twist, that's my favourite kind of villain. And I haven't yet come up against them. Aside from that, I love when we did the alien. Because for me, the aliens as an enemy, just the most terrifying. Because it's pure primal. So, and that's the other element to it. It's having one that there isn't if you're going to have a creature, make it a full-on creature. There's no sentience to it. All it wants to do is kill, and it is deadly. Those are the best kind of creature enemies that you can come up against.
I think the immersion in that game helps because the only vision you had was from your flashlight. So if you turned around and couldn't see anything around you, you could only see what was in the beam of your flashlight. And we also had the motion tracker that's infamous from the actual film series. So you're pushing that button and
And I got to a corridor and I looked and I saw like the tail and I genuinely nearly shit myself. I was like, oh my god, guys, I guess I was a mechanic. Wasn't going to do anything. I could open a door.
See, I feel like D&D doesn't lend itself well to that sort of gameplay because players are very strong. Like I love low level gameplay. Like the low level play for that reason. You know, an owlbear is scary at level 1. At level 10.
Having a situation where
things
you
like
can't do
aliens
it.
designed to be like that. I think that's always
You're not an adventurer. You're not built to fight things. You're a McDonald's worker, and you have there is a cocaine bear in the kitchen. That's the kind of thing that I love. Is how are you going to get rid of this? How the doors are locked.
You must deal with the cocaine bear.
Those are the ones that are just the most unrealistic but realistic situations. I think those are the really cool ones.
Yeah. Awesome. What about times where the story you've been trying to tell has been interrupted by your dice? Your dice have decided that there's something different is going to happen to what you intended.
Yeah, John, how does that go?
All the time. I remember the first time it happened to me, Dodds in that first campaign, where the orphanage is on fire. Dodds like, I'm going to dive through the window, land inside, roll, and save the children.
Mm-hmm.
Roll to athletics check to dive through the window, roll to like 15. It's like you dive through the window, make another one as you land inside the burning building. Natural one, the beans fall on you, you're now trapped. You're dragged out by other people. So, it's always been bad with dice rolling. I've upset the dice times.
I think for me, that's why the session we've done recently is a good example of where I was like, right, what's the floor like? I'm going to slide across the floor. I'm going to swing up. I was like, I'm going to give it a try. And then I just waffed it. I was like, that's why I don't tend to give those descriptions, because every time I give those descriptions of something very cool, it doesn't happen. So I like, oh, roll the dice. 15, it hits. Cool, okay. This is what I do then. But by the time you roll it, it's like, well, I'm hit. I might as well not describe it now. So it's always, if I try and make it epic, it fails miserably.
And yeah, shoot. I mean, have you got any funny little anecdotes around?
So DM, no, because I might surprise you to know that occasionally I might find trolls.
What?
I don't know what that word means.
Just to keep the story going in the direction it needs to go. And often that is fudging it in a good way. That wasn't a crit on that person. No, I missed.
No, I don't
That way you're not
No.
dead. Character. I mean, I share your dice rolling abilities, and Ash can attest to this because of our past in games like Warhammer. So yeah, it's probably virtually every time I throw a dice, something goes wrong with me. I can't think of a specific example.
I'm struggling with a specific example as well. I think that obviously I'm DMing a lot more than I'm playing. I think I don't prescribe those story points when I run a game. So whatever the role is what the role is, and that's how the story goes. I can't think of any specific examples. Like that, isn't
Yeah, possible.
Again, from a player's perspective, one of the most frustrating ones is when you're asked to make a roll and the DM knows it won't make a difference.
like I did with Andy earlier when he was trying to read the tombstone.
Not that was for comedy, but like as an example, when Thorin was stuck in the fall and we were doing everything we possibly could, and it felt like the decision was it doesn't matter what you do, this is happening. In those situations, I would rather it not be you're asked to roll the dice, because then it puts a really difficult situation for both you and the DM of, oh, I've just crit. What's going to happen now? Because it's like, you want it really badly to happen. I'd rather them kind of just thematically describe it in a way that goes, you're trying to get to them too fast, but it's just before you can even do anything, this is what happens. And they almost, it makes it more tricky because you get rid of those moments where you can describe it a bit more, but it takes off the, I did it, I rolled really good and I still didn't get the outcome that I was trying
That's
for.
about player agency, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's if that scene needs to happen a particular way to set up the cool next thing, which is actually what the story is,
Yeah.
like you need to go through a portal or whatever. Don't ask people to roll.
Yeah.
Just narrate them, portal absorbs you, whatever it is, just move on,
Yeah, but even the narration can sometimes go not the way you expect. Tying in with the point you just made, and Thorin's demise. Thorin was in a portal and he got cut in half, and he's dead. And there was a reason for that. I had personal reasons why I didn't think I could continue that campaign. I had to sort of scale back on with my gaming. But then things changed and I decided to come back. So me and Chris secretly had me return as Thorin later on in the campaign. But rather than being welcomed with open arms and joy, it was, he said,
We buried your ass.
I talk to new DMs about that quite a lot. We call it cutscening. So when you take the option to roll away and you just narrate something like that, it's referred to as a cutscene. But the other thing with that as well is the misconception of players that on a skill check and that 20 means that you're going to be able to do what you want to do. Criticals only work in combat. Rules as written, although most DMs will take a 20 on a skill check as a critical anyway. It's managing the expectation of players, I think, is a big thing there as well. And I get why sometimes DMs will make you roll into the impossible situation, because it really builds into that impossibility. I've rolled a 25, yeah, but you still didn't do it.
Yeah.
So, oh wow, it really was that difficult to do. So there's arguments of both ways, I think, depending on your group and how they want to play the game and what led up to that point and what comes afterwards as well. whole thing to think about.
I think there's certain things, I think, especially with films, like things like the villain monologuing, very common in films.
Oh yeah.
Try it at a D&D game, no. You try that once and film launched a javelin straight away. What? How that? You know, just doesn't work with real players, does it?
Nah.
So, no. Awesome. Interesting, I suppose, question around mistakes in the game. Has there been any particular mistakes, either as a player or a DM, that you have made that's had like a ripple effect throughout a game? And
Do you mean rules or narratively?
either?
Yeah. Yeah, I gave you an amulet which made you immune to necrotic damage, and then you fought a lich.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty stupid.
To be up, I did give that away at the very end part.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, being nice. Cool.
I've got one that kind of falls into the last question, which I've literally just remembered. In one where we did a one shot and it was the very end battle, and I had to roll to not be frightened. And I got frightened and couldn't do anything for the entire end battle. I was just cowering behind a rock. And it was the beginning of that battle, and I was like, oh, can I save from this? No. Cool. I'll just sit here while you guys fight, and your turn? Well, there's nothing I can do, so I cower behind a rock. Damn dice. But there was another one which I was a player in, and I think maybe it was one where the DM might have realised that they'd made a small error. It was a similar thing where one of the characters got scared, and so they had to run away. But they just kept running. For the entire fight. They were just the whole, what are you doing this turn? Well, I haven't saved. Okay, you keep running. It's like, no, come on. Be like, oh, you've got a certain distance away, you're fine, it's ended now, you can come back. I'm like, you spent the entire, I know what it's like, I'm stuck behind a rock.
8 rounds. I think that's interesting. Others, I suppose, just because we're a bit running away from a fight, you mentioned it with your dragon. Apart from Ash and Chris's characters, everyone else ran away. You just mentioned it around running away because of collision. Do you think running away is a valid option in a D&D game?
Oh, God, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Have any of you actually done it?
Yeah.
No.
You got a yes. I'm not sure we've ever run away. I've never run away in the group that we've been in.
I can't think.
I know it's
As I say, I mean, like Ash, I probably DM more than I play, so I'm trying to think back. Like, I may have done.
Yeah, I think you might have done in a game that you both might have done actually, in a game that I ran. And when I say a game, I mean the game, the one and only, when there was a big old blind white dragon.
Did we run away?
You did, because it was coming back and you all disappeared. Because it was just, it flew off and then it was coming back again. And you all disappeared into the forest and then had to try and find each other.
That's true. That's true.
Yes, then.
I'm glad that my game was so memorable.
Yeah, they're really bad.
Oh shit. Because they had cataracts, remember? And he was just trying to eat you.
Run away is an interesting one, though, isn't it? Because I've done it in the past where you put an unwinnable encounter in front of your party, and they have to run away. That's what you're forcing them to do because you're foreshadowing something, or you're trying to get some information over. And it's when they don't run away.
Yeah.
That's when you get the problem, and you realise, well, this could be a TPK. This could be the end of it.
I think if you're doing that, you have to signpost it really well, don't you?
You do.
Signpost it.
Yeah.
It's going to be bad if you stand.
I don't do it very often, especially not with some of the people I play regularly, because they will just stand and fight to death, which obviously isn't necessarily what you want us to do.
But I think there was a point though when they go, okay, who's up? No one?
No one. Oh.
Oh. Who stands it next? Me, but I'm rolling a death save.
There was one.
Why didn't we have a healer?
There was one episode in Company of Fate, which is where you were outside the cave shaped like a skull, and all the orcs were coming out as they swarming the walls and the ceiling. And Niall stood just outside ready to greet his new friends. Everyone else had scarpered and was
Yeah.
hidden. No. I'm going to stand there and have a conversation, which was quite fun. We ended up having a big fight.
It's not cowardice. Sometimes it's a smart thing to do.
Self-preservation.
I feel like running away should be an option more in D&D.
Mhm.
But yeah, like I say, most of the groups times we play, a handful of times actually ran away. You just don't do it, do you? You just expect your DM to balance stuff and you to be alright, I think, which is a mistake really on the player's part. But
What I would love is for you to be in a fight and you as a group decide to run away and then you just run into a worse fight. Kill! Like, her?
got a couple more stories. So this one's about chaotic encounters. So it says, I was running a homebrew game recently for my Friday group. We were all level 14 at the time. To keep it short, they had a task to destroy the heart of the abyss, which was down in a brimstone walkway with tendrils and balors blocking their path. They made light work of them using some high-powered magic or thinking of clever ways to destroy them. But you eventually got to the heart and had to pump every ounce of their abilities into opening a shell which contained the chaotic energy. Now, cue the barbarian. In full Gimli style, he just rams his great axe down into the shard, shattering his magical 2+ weapon to bits. He then raged and proceeded to eat the heart. Gobsmacked. I could have rolled lots of checks and did some crazy homebrew ruling for it, instead of letting it fly. Now, knowing that the heart has been released from its shell, every single demon across the abyss has been made aware of the location and will do anything in their power to get it. They now have to fight their way out of the abyss, 666 layers, with a ticking bomb in the belly of the barbarian, and then find a way to destroy it on the material plane without killing him. I'll keep you updated. It's a lot there to digest, isn't it? What do you make of that?
Amazing.
I feel like that might have changed the almost like a narrative of their campaign.
I think it has probably, yeah.
Because it's no longer is it just this thing that people are after, but now it's a person that they want. So you've got options for kidnap and
It's like Frodo with the ring.
yeah, the reads inside.
He swallowed the ring.
Like capture and then what's it?
Disembowel.
That's it. Yeah.
Or just wait till he poops it out.
Very true.
So Andy went for the poo joke.
Yeah.
There was a
Aw.
No poo joke.
No, I was looking for a squirrel.
Ah,
So, what about adventures and things that you've been in before? Is there any particular adventures you think back to fondly? Think of often, maybe?
I think for me, yeah, it's the two where I played either Thorin or Bryn.
When you think about D&D, that's what comes to you.
Yeah, those two campaigns with those two characters and the players I was playing with and the way the games were run, they probably sort of generate the fondest memories of my experience so far with D&D. Yeah.
I think for me, it would have been the first campaign we run. Similar sort of thing, right? It's the people and the experience. Maybe it's just because it's your first, isn't it? You never forget your first.
True.
I think I would say the campaign I played Zaphon. I've not played a character that I've engaged with as much as I did with Zaphon, or had as much fun as I had with Zaphon.
Similar, I reckon, with Mouse, because I used her in a game before I joined the guild, and then brought her over because I enjoyed playing her so much. So, yeah, and she went through, I think, multiple different kind of campaigns and got chucked about to places, which was quite fun. But I know it's tricky because sometimes everything, I either forget the games I've played or it blends together a bit. So anytime you play is fun because it's that escapism element to it. Just excited to see what comes next.
Is there any particular tropes that you particularly love to see or love to see subverted when you play D&D?
For the audience at home, can you explain what a trope is?
Trope. So elves are all posh is a trope.
There.
I hate the rogue edgelord.
Don't like a rogue edgelord.
Nah, play a rogue who's happy and jolly and full of light and life.
Okay, I get what you mean.
You know, I think edgelordy characters can be. So let's take an example. Like you can be that shadowy, like roguish character, but still have character.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas some people, when they go down that route, because that is their full identity, and that's it, and they don't let on to anybody else what they're doing or where they're going. I think that's one of the tropes that I don't enjoy as much, and I think it goes back to what I said earlier about having like-mindedness amongst players, because they tend to push out completely on their own and have completely different objectives to what the rest of the group are trying to do, and that can be difficult as a DM to try and keep everybody together and on task and things, not on task, but yeah, on mission. I don't feel that way about G. I will say, there's a bit. I think G has got more depth to it than just edgelord rogue. Because you go into a pub and have a drink, you had a cuddle with the old Gerard Road.
Yeah.
An edgelord rogue would not be doing that. You're trying to kill him.
There has to be some redeeming feature qualities in it, doesn't there? There has to be some softness, something more than just.
People aren't one-dimensional.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They just a normal person is not one-dimensional. So to lean so heavily into that, it just isn't as engaging for me personally.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I wish I was a 2-dimensional.
That was his.
belly.
Yeah, that was his belly. That was his belly. I think for me, it's the idea, specifically when you're low level, that you already know what you're doing. That you're a hardened mercenary or you're an adventurer who knows exactly what's going on. It's like, no, you're level 1. You've just got out of high school. You don't even have a job yet. You haven't learned to drive. You're still getting the bus. This is your first foray. So when you come up against something like, I don't know, a beholder, you're not going to be like, right, I'm going to do this. You're going to shit yourself. You're going to scream. You're going to hide. Just react how someone would react in those situations. It makes it more fun. It makes it more believable. And you get a chance to maybe try a different way of tackling things than just whacking it. And I'm guilty of it too. When I first started playing, I was like, yeah, I'm incredible, exactly what I'm doing. Didn't have a clue in game or outside of game what I was doing. But I think when you first do it, you're like, I'm a superhero. I'm Iron Man. No, you're not. You're Pee Wee Herman.
What about you, Andy? Any sort of tropes and things that you love to see or would like to see subverted?
Cards.
Just what would you care to elaborate on the word cards?
Hate cards.
You hate cards.
You know why? Talking about them. I mean, given I wasn't nearly going to say I'm a musician myself, but that's not quite true. Given I try and play an instrument myself.
You are practically a bard. You are practically a bard, Andy. Told you magic tricks.
Yeah.
I just don't know what it is about the class. I just don't like.
Fair enough. Is it because the way people play them, or is it a mechanical thing with the class?
It's a bit of both.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't know why. And I shouldn't be prejudiced against class, but I am.
I think there's the trope of they always want to seduce everything with a bard. When actually it's like, well, no, they've got a lot more going for them than just
I
that.
really enjoyed playing the bard in our second phase. It was good, but it was also hard not to, just because you got +10 in charisma, you're not the only person who talks.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of pulling back on that sometimes. If somebody else starts a conversation, to leave it with them for a while and so big adventures of that thing.
So a good bard was Chris Pine in the D&D film.
Yeah.
I thought that was actually a really good bard because he's flawed, but isn't trying to just seduce everything he sees, which is what most bards end up bloody doing. I thought it was a good portrayal of what a bard should probably be.
See, for me, the trope that I like to subvert is things like the Goblin Ski Resort. I appreciate that's probably a random encounter off a table somewhere. But that kind of flip is like the monsters have lives outside of you lot as well. You're passing through just interrupting our skiing. Come on, get lost or join us or whatever.
Yeah.
I love seeing that sort of stuff in there.
It's like the idea that they just exist in the world until you turn up and then engage with them. It's like, no, they do other stuff.
Yeah. Be coming in for 6 years. Cool. We've got one last story then to tell. So this one is called The Sun, the Moon and a Bugbear's Bad Tuesday.
Where did you find this?
I asked the Discord people submitted them. So this one's actually written like a story as well. So it began, as all sensible tales do, with a bugbear warlock trying very hard not to do evil. Babu, large fairy and painfully earnest, has just helped save the moon goddess Sehanine from a certain unmaking by the very definition of a bad bloke, Zaphon, evil demigod, ? Professional ruiner of celestial beings. With Sehanine now faintly glowing and mostly conscious and stood firmly on the material plane, Babu found himself promoted unwillingly to divine babysitter. His other hand clutched an iron flask containing the essence of the sun god Sehanine. Sehanan. Yeah, right. Because when you can't save a fiery deity from destruction, you improvise with alchemy and poor decisions. Now, Sehanam was a god known for two things, blinding light and being a spectacular arsehole. So when Babu said, we should keep him in the flask until we figure out what to do, most agreed. Most. Enter Imni Thunderbrace. A towering, white-made leonine with the muscles of a demigod and drinking habits of a dwarven bachelor party. Imni noble in battle, but morally flexible, after 3 ales, eyed the flask like a thirsty cat stares at a goldfish bowl. And then, during a quiet moment of divine reflection, i.e. when Babu was busy pleading with the moon, Imni did something legendary. He uncorked the flask and drank the sun. Now, what followed was not combat, no swords were drawn, no spells were cast, just a lot of yelling, sparkles, sweating, and 3 heroic uses of Indomitable as a sun god fought from inside Imni's digestive system not to be consumed like divine tequila. Imni somehow won. Babu screamed, Sehanine wept faint silver tears. The flask belched out up a soaked wind and crumpled like a tankard. When it was over, Imni was staring at the middle of a glowing crater, radiant, smug, and slightly singed. Tastes spicy, he muttered. From that day forward, Imni was technically a vessel of the sun god, a divine light bulb with claws. While Babu learned a hard lesson, never turn your back on the fire during a non-combat scene.
Amazing.
Now you've read it, I actually know who that is.
So that was mine, it's been that long.
That's brilliant.
Any thoughts on that before we wrap up?
I thought that was one of the coolest things to come out of Darkest Dungeon.
Like drinking the sun god?
Drinking the sun god. It's just when you just say to somebody, yeah, he drank the sun god. But
And he's still around, isn't he? He's Marshal of the Divine Orders.
Marshal of the Solar Order, yeah.
So with that, we'll wrap up. Thank you all for listening, and we will see you next week.
Huge shout out to our Ruby members, that is Paul C, Josh, Jason, Ollie, Claire and Laura.
And our Sapphire members, Gary, and Emerald member, Stuart.
For the Diamond group, we've got Ash, Chris, Zeke, Dave, Bertie, Neil, Martin, John, and Andy.
That's me.
And our Obsidian members, JP, Niall, Ethan, and Anne. Thank you to each and every one of our Patreon members. And don't forget, you can become a Patreon member too. If you go to patreon.com/CharityDND, you can pick one of the tiers and become part of our amazing community.
Join us.